The wild Mustang appeared on a cold October morning, and the moment I saw him standing at the tree line, I felt something change in the air. He did not move, he did not run, he just stood there, watching me with eyes that held a warning and a plea at the same time. Those eyes stopped my breath. This was not an ordinary Mustang. This was a horse that looked like he had survived things no animal should. Deep scars crossed his ribs. His mane was rough, torn by mountain storms. Still, he stood with the calm power of a king, like he had come with a purpose. My name is Rafael Mendoza, and in the last 3 months I had lost 8 horses. They did not break fences, they did not leave tracks, they did not leave a single clue. One day they were there, the next day they were gone. Every loss pushed me closer to losing the Colorado ranch my grandmother had built with her own hands. I barely slept anymore. I barely ate. Every sunrise meant walking to empty stalls and asking questions no one could answer. The Mustang lifted his head into the wind and gave a low call. Something deep in my chest answered back. For the first time in months, I felt a direction, a message, a reason. I leaned against the fence, my fingers numb from the cold. "What do you want to show me, boy?" I whispered. I did not know why I said it out loud, but the moment the words left my mouth, the Mustang stepped forward, slow, steady, like he had been waiting for me to ask. For 3 mornings, the same thing happened. At sunrise, he appeared. He never crossed the fence, but he stayed close enough to watch my every move. He was not afraid, but he never pushed too close. I started talking to him in Spanish, the way my grandmother used to talk to the horses. I told him about the missing horses, about the debt, about the fear that sat in my chest like a stone. And he listened. Every time I finished, he turned his head toward the mountains. On the 4th morning, I followed him. I saddled my gelding and rode into the pines as the Mustang led the way. He moved like he was made of the land itself. The forest was quiet, the kind of quiet that makes your heart beat louder. I thought I knew every trail on my land, but he walked paths that did not exist on any map. Trails too narrow for cattle, too hidden for hunters, perfect for a horse that had survived by staying unseen. We climbed higher into the foothills. Rocks cut sharp under hoof. Aspen trees closed in around us. Sweat ran down my back even though the air burned cold in my lungs. Then the Mustang stopped. Between 2 massive boulders was a narrow opening, a doorway cut into the mountain. I had ridden these hills for 15 years and never noticed it. The Mustang slipped through. I followed. What waited on the other side stole the air from my lungs. A hidden valley spread out below me, green and alive while the rest of the mountains faded toward winter brown. Thick grass covered the ground, a clear creek cut through the center like silver glass. And standing in the middle of it all were metal corral panels, new ones, too new. My heart started to pound. Hoof prints covered the ground, not wild prints, trained horse prints, the same kind that had vanished from my ranch all summer. The Mustang walked straight to the corral and let out a sharp, knowing sound. Then, the door of a small stone cabin opened. A woman stepped out. She moved like someone who belonged in the mountains, strong, calm, unafraid. Her clothes were worn from long days with horses, and her dark braid looked like it had survived more storms than most people ever would. But it was her eyes that held me in place, sharp, focused, intelligent. Eyes that matched the Mustang's. "Rafael Mendoza," she said quietly. The ground felt like it tilted beneath me. She knew my name. "I've been waiting for the Mustang to bring you," she continued. My voice came out tight. "Who are you, and what are you doing on my land?" She studied me for a long moment, like she was measuring something deeper than words. "My name is Dr. Catalina Reyes. I'm a veterinarian, and I know exactly what's been happening to your horses. My stomach twisted. "You need to see something," she said, stepping aside and opening the cabin door wider. "But I need to warn you first. Once you step inside, nothing about your life will ever be the same." The Mustang nudged my arm gently, urging me forward. I swallowed hard and stepped toward the cabin, not knowing the truth waiting inside was about to pull me into a world far bigger, darker, and more dangerous than anything I had ever imagined. The moment I stepped inside the stone cabin, the air felt heavier, like the walls were holding secrets that did not want to stay quiet. This was not some lonely hideout in the mountains. This place was alive with purpose. Screens covered one wall, glowing softly in the dim light. Cameras showed pastures, roads, loading ramps, and horse trailers from angles I had never seen before. Another wall was covered with photographs, pinned close together like pieces of a broken puzzle. I walked closer, my chest tightening with every step. They were my horses: Estrella, Viento, Paloma, Rio, Sombra. Horses I had raised from foals, horses I had trained, trusted, and loved. There they were, caught under harsh lights, being led into unfamiliar trailers, standing in pens far from home. My hands started to shake. "You've been watching them get taken?" I asked, my voice cracking. Dr. Catalina Reyes shook her head slowly. "I've been tracking the people who take them. Watching is not the same as stopping. Not yet." She handed me a thick folder. Inside were papers that made my stomach turn. Registration records, DNA results, sale receipts. Every document looked official. Every ranch name was fake. My jaw tightened until it hurt. "These papers were used to sell your horses at illegal auctions," she said. "They did not disappear. They were stolen, targeted, and resold." I dropped into a chair, the weight of it all crushing down on me. "Why my ranch?" I asked. "Why me?" "You are not the only one," she said, pointing to a large map covered in red marks. "This stretches across 10 states. They choose ranchers with strong bloodlines, but small enough operations that the losses do not make headlines." My grandmother's voice echoed in my head. "Horses see the soul." Maybe that was why the Mustang had come to me. Maybe he had seen something in me I could not see anymore. Dr. Reyes picked up a photograph of a man in a suit shaking hands at a horse show. She said, "This is Vincent Ashworth, founder of Equestrian Elite Services, the biggest private horse brokerage in the West." "I know that name," I said. "They sell horses for more money than I'll ever see." "They steal horses," she corrected quietly. "Then they erase their past and sell them to the highest bidder." She pointed to another photo, this one of a hard-eyed man leaning against a truck. "Marcus Webb. He runs the field crews. He's the one who took your horses." Anger burned hot in my chest. "Why haven't they been stopped?" I asked, my voice cracking. "I went to the authorities," she said. "Ashworth has powerful friends. My reports were buried. I was fired before I could expose them. So I built this." She led me into another room filled with computers and radios. Screens flashed with GPS data, encrypted messages, and live feeds. Voices crackled softly through speakers. "They talk freely," she said. "They think no one is listening." She pressed a button, and a recording filled the room. "Mendoza's ranch is next. The stallion alone is worth a fortune if we change the bloodline. Move before winter locks us out." My blood ran cold. "They're coming back," I whispered. Dr. Reyes nodded. "Tonight." My knees weakened, and I grabbed the edge of the table. My remaining horses, my stallion, my mares, everything I had left. "This is why the Mustang brought you here," she said. "He's been watching them for months. You were never meant to face this alone." I looked out the window. The Mustang stood on a rise, still and alert, watching the valley like a guardian. "What do we do?" I asked. She opened a secure channel on one of the screens. Names filled the display. Ranchers, investigators, a few lawmen she trusted. "The FBI is ready, but they need proof of an active theft." "So you let them take my horses?" I asked, my voice tight. "No," she said firmly. "We let them try." She pointed to the ridge above the valley. "We set cameras there, audio, night scopes. When Webb's crew moves in, everything is recorded. Once they load the horses, federal agents move in." The thought of it made my chest ache. Watching my horses suffer again felt unbearable, but I knew what was at stake. "Okay," I said quietly. "I'll do it." As the sun dropped behind the Colorado peaks, the valley sank into deep blue shadow. Dr. Reyes handed me a night vision scope and a recorder. "Stay close, and when it starts, don't look away." The wind whispered through the pines like a warning. The Mustang lifted his head toward the south, ears sharp, body tense. I followed his gaze, knowing the night was about to reveal a truth that could either destroy me or save everything I loved. The mountains went silent as midnight settled over the hidden valley. The cold cut deep, sliding down from the peaks and into my bones. I crouched beside Dr. Reyes on the ridge, my hands locked tight around the night vision scope. The Mustang stood a few steps away, still as stone, his ears turning slowly as he listened to things I could not hear. Then his body stiffened. "They're coming," Dr. Reyes whispered. I raised the scope and aimed toward the forest road. Green shadows moved through the lens. 2 horse trailers rolled downhill with their lights off, followed by 3 black pickup trucks. Their engines whispered low, controlled, practiced. My heart slammed against my ribs. This was not random theft. This was a system. The convoy stopped at the edge of the valley. Men poured out, dressed in dark gear, moving with sharp precision. They carried tranquilizer rifles and strange devices I had never seen before. Marcus Webb stepped forward, tall and calm, his voice cutting through the night on the intercepted radio. "We take everything tonight," he said. "No mistakes." My stomach twisted. They moved fast, slicing fences without a sound, killing cameras with handheld tools. Within minutes, they were inside my pastures. My stallion, Cielo Dorado, lifted his head. He sensed the danger. He placed himself in front of the mares, his body tight, ready to fight. Pride and fear crushed my chest at the same time. A thief raised a sonic device. "Don't," I whispered, my voice breaking. The sound hit like invisible fire. Cielo Dorado reared, pain ripping through him. The mares panicked, circling, crashing into each other. Tears blurred my vision, but I forced myself to keep watching, to keep recording. This was the proof they needed. They pushed the disoriented horses into portable pens. My stallion fought until the last second, striking and screaming until a tranquilizer dart struck his shoulder. He went down hard. I felt something tear inside me. Then a calm voice cut through Dr. Reyes's earpiece. "All units, move." The valley exploded with light. Floodlights snapped on, helicopters thundered overhead, federal agents surged from the trees shouting commands. The thieves froze, trapped, blinded. Some ran and were tackled, others dropped to the ground. Marcus Webb was forced face down beside the trailer holding my horses. "It's over," Dr. Reyes said softly. Relief hit me so hard my legs shook. Before I could move, the Mustang launched himself down the ridge. He ran straight toward the trailers, fearless, focused. He struck one of them hard with his hoof, then let out a sharp call. "What is that horse doing?" an agent shouted. The trailer doors were thrown open. Inside were hidden compartments packed with forged papers, DNA kits, microchip scanners, and hard drives filled with fake bloodlines, proof of a crime far bigger than anyone imagined. An agent looked at me in disbelief. "Sir, that horse just exposed a national fraud ring." I stared at the Mustang, my breath shaking. "I know," I said. "He's not mine. He chose this." As dawn touched the peaks, my horses were released. Cielo Dorado staggered out first. When he saw me, he pressed his head against my chest. I wrapped my arms around him and broke down. "You're home," I whispered. The mares gathered close, safe at last. The Mustang stood apart, watching. When I approached, he lowered his head and allowed me one quiet touch. Then he turned toward the forest and walked away, his scarred back glowing in the morning light. He had done what he came to do. And as he disappeared into the pines, I knew some horses choose their people and some choose their battles. He chose both. The valley felt different after the sun rose. The fear that had lived there through the night was gone, replaced by a quiet stillness that settled deep into my chest. Federal agents moved through the area, cataloging evidence, sealing trucks, and leading men away in cuffs. Marcus Webb was one of them. He never looked at me as they pulled him past, like I was already erased from his world. Dr. Reyes stood beside me, her shoulders finally relaxed. "It's finished," she said. "Ashworth will fall too. With this evidence, there's no place left for them to hide." I nodded, but my eyes stayed on my horses. Cielo Dorado stood close, still a little unsteady, his breath warm against my arm. One by one, my mares and young horses were checked, treated, and cleared. Not a single one was lost. For the first time in months, my chest did not feel tight when I counted them. News spread fast. By afternoon, cameras arrived at the edge of the valley. Reporters spoke in low voices about fraud, stolen bloodlines, and a criminal network that had been stealing horses for years. They called it one of the biggest cases in the modern horse world. None of that mattered to me. All I cared about was that my horses were safe. When the agents finally left, the valley grew quiet again. Dr. Reyes packed her equipment into her truck. "What will you do now?" she asked. I looked out across the grass, glowing gold in the afternoon light. "Go home," I said. "Rebuild." She smiled. "Your grandmother would be proud." Before she drove away, she paused. "Somewhere out there," she said softly, "that Mustang is still watching." I believed her. Back at the ranch, life slowly returned. The stalls were full again. The fences stood strong. Each morning, I woke up tired but hopeful. The debt did not vanish overnight, but help came from places I never expected. Ranchers I had never met reached out. Buyers asked for horses with honest bloodlines. Truth, once spoken, has a way of spreading. Sometimes, at sunrise, I still walk the fence line. And sometimes, far at the edge of the trees, I think I see a shape standing still against the light. A scarred back, a proud neck, watching just long enough to remind me. He never belonged to me. He never needed to. He came when I was lost. He showed me the truth, and when his work was done, he returned to the wild where he belonged. Some horses save lives without ever being owned, and some guardians wear no halter at all.